Okay, now you want to remove part of the upper air cleaner tubes. Okay, so you want to unplug the mass airflow sensor, so you gotta put a screwdriver in there, a little flat one. Just push out a little bit, fix it up, set that aside. Take that clamp off, pull the hose off of this section, remove all your little Phillips screw heads, can remove the whole upper housing off. And you also need to remove this section too. Get this off of here. And pull this piece out. Remove the 8 screws for the upper air cleaner housing. Remove that, get your filter out of there. Remove this 10. Spray some lube on this rubber grommet. You can pull this whole piece up, loosen it up. Another grommet there, which goes right in here. So you want to put some lube on that one also. Goes through here, through the intake, or not through the intake, but through the air cleaner housing. And then you want to take this and you want to turn it so you can get it out. Careful, because this falls out. Okay. Then you want to remove the oil cap and pull the engine cover off. It's held on by those grommets also. There's 4 of them. Remove the battery cover. And you want to disconnect the battery. Take the battery out. Got a hold down right there, which is most likely the 12. Move this piece out of the way. Clips it in the bottom. Undo your negative and then your positive. Remove the hold down. Pick up the battery. Pull it out of the way. Sorry, the hold down was a 13. Get mixed up with Japanese. But anyway, 13. Now you need to remove the battery. Now you need to remove the tray. It's held on by a couple 10s. There's 3 of them. 1, 2, and 3. You'll need to twist it from around here because this piece goes in back behind there. Okay. This piece is held in by 225s. 1 here and 1 there. They go into the core support. Okay, you want to remove the upper hose. Remove the clip holding it on. And remember, lift them up by the little angles and then get them off. And then wiggle the hose, the plastic piece. Don't grab hold of this part, you'll snap it off. Grab hold of the whole housing assembly and wiggle it and pull it off. That way you can drain some of the coolant out. Okay. Now this video is gonna do pulling the trans and doing the water pump. So some things you'll see over here that are removed. You don't have to remove to do the water pump. I just removed the battery and all that so I can get access over here to the trans. Next you want to remove this clip off of this hose that goes to the heater hose, off of the trans cooler. Get it off of there, let it drain some coolant. Next you want to lift this hose up out of the way. Fasten it with this bungee cord so you can get to that Torx bolt for that air tube coming off of the intercooler, and it goes to the throttle body. Loosen this hose clamp up, so now that whole tube that we took off in the beginning is loose, so we can drop that tube out. And in the bottom of that tube, we have another sensor. Remember to use your little flat blade screwdriver to push in that little tab. Stick it inside here, on there and push it. You hear it click, and then you can pull it off. Break it loose off of the throttle body with some penetrant spray, and the whole thing is loose. Then you can wiggle it out of there around the lower radiator hose. You might take the lower radiator hose off down below at the radiator so you can get access to getting that tube out of there without breaking it. I wiggled the tube and got it out through the bottom. Eventually you're gonna have to take off that lower radiator hose to do the water pump. So just remember, don't do it down there, and then put your hose back up in and then connect that up. All right, and I forgot to tell you to loosen this up from here. Take that hose clamp off and then get your pliers on there and squeeze it and twist it a little bit, twist and pull, and it come off of there. So now we're gonna remove the intake. So now we need to get this piece off and undo that one. and undo this one and the sensor. Undid the fuel line, undid the breather tube. You gotta squeeze these together, pull it off of there, and you can twist it, and you get access to squeeze those in easier. You can pull that off. Undo the fuel pump intake line, undo the high pressure line at the 17. Over here, unplug your connectors. There's 3 of them. Use your flat blade screwdrivers. Remove this line off of this one. I think pretty sure all these connectors on his harnesses are related to that. And also need to remove this screw. It's a Torx, probably a T27 or a 30. And the same thing right here. There's another one right here on the bottom. For those, they go bolt up to the intake. I think it's a T30 also. Remove that one and that one. All right, you gotta remove the intake bolts, which is a T30. There's 6 of them, okay? And there's 2 10s on the corners, okay? You can get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 6, 7, 2, yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then the 2 bolts. All right, 2 nuts on the studs. Okay, and then the intake's a little bit loose. Then down below the intake, there's a bracket coming up to the bottom of the intake, right behind the throttle body. And it's got a 13mm nut on a stud. And then there's a bracket that goes to the side of the block. And that's got a 13mm, no, it's got a, what has it got? It has an M10 12 point. And it is right down there. See it sticking through there, right there, where my finger's on? So it's right alongside the heater hoses, which are the metal heater hoses, okay? Which are right here, okay? You can see it better right there, all right? So then you can take that one off, and you can pull the whole intake loose with the injectors with it. Okay, the intake is loose, but we still have something holding it. Probably some wire harnesses, but I know there's a wire harness right here. And hopefully you took this off when you did the bolts for the intake. And I gotta undo that one. Okay, you need to undo this wire harness bracket. These are 2 T27s. They go in there and hold that on. So now you got this side loose. Now you gotta work on this side. And you gotta remove the oil pressure switch connector. Okay. The injectors are supposed to come with the intake, but 3 of them stayed with the head. So you had to reach down in there and squeeze the little tab and pull each one off like a regular injector, okay? Then I had to unplug this sensor right here, which is right there. One of these, anyway. And then what you want to do is open this connector up, pull this harness out so it drops out. What you're gonna do is you're gonna remove this whole harness so you can take the intake out of there, just to get it out of your way. Otherwise you can leave it hooked up for what it is, but I'm gonna disconnect and take it out of there. So I'm gonna unplug that one. I'm gonna unplug this one and that one and this one, and I'm gonna undo this harness and pull it out. Okay, it's out of there. What I do is I take a nail pick sometimes and I'll stick it underneath these and I'll lift that tab up. Because sometimes when you're pushing down on these, they'll break off. So I don't want to take that chance sometimes, so I'm just gonna use my picks Okay. But anyway, there's the water pump right there. Grand. And here's the belt cover. You grab hold of your injectors, you know, and twist them and pull. Grab hold right here and grab hold right here and grab on them and twist and pull, twist and pull. Just keep doing it back and forth, and they'll eventually just pull right out. And then going back together, put some Seal Glide on here and push them into your fuel rail. Clean off your injector end. If the injectors don't come out, put some penetrant on them or some brake clean, and let it soak in and wiggle them. It'll come out. All right, here's this dumb bracket with that dumb long bolt that you need to take out. Okay. And this bracket here for the harness that I didn't need to take out, I'll put them bolts back in now. There was two connectors that I did take off of here, and that was an orange one, and I think maybe a green one. Okay. All right, so now all I gotta do is clean up my injectors and clean up my surface for my gasket, and then my intake will be ready to go. And then I'll need to clean up my head and my surfaces, my injector holes, wipe them out, put some tape over it, shove some rags in there, whatever you need to do, and then we'll work on the water pump. Okay, cleaned out the injector hose, cleaned the surface for the intake. Inside here, there were little dividers, and inside the injectors were little Teflon washers. Here's the dividers, full carbon. If you want to clean them up, that's good. Remember, the tits go out, okay? And don't get them flipped upside down, because see, they're different. All right, so these are up. These are them I was talking about. Them go towards the cylinder head. The little notches towards the cylinder head. All right. This one's broke. I don't know if it matters any. Any. I don't know. Maybe that's what holds them in. I don't know. But the seals are right here that hold it into the head. Seal on it. I gotta clean that one off. I gotta clean the intake yet. Okay. Need to take this hose off. T30 bolt, penetrant, remove the clamps, put some penetrant on there too. And take a screwdriver in there, put some penetrant in there. Wiggle this one off best you can. Careful you don't break this hose, because it pushes into there, I think. Another damn bolt. Underneath here, goes into the housing, holds this piece on there. Okay. Remove water pump belt cover. T30s, two of them. One here, one there. Belt cover off. All right. Now remove the lower hoses. Remove the little clamps, okay? Remember the little J's right there? Lift them up and pull them off. All right. Remember I had to take this apart? There's a little valve in there. It fell out. As far as I know, that's all it goes in there. There's a little valve right here. This piece goes into this piece like that. Okay, so basically like this. Okay, so if I find more pieces, I'll keep you updated, but anyway, be aware of losing that. Okay, T30, 5 bolts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, slide the belt off, work it around, okay? Slide it off. And then get a pry bar in there, pry against the block in this, pry it out a little bit, and then you need to pry it out like this, and then like that, because this piece goes into the oil cooler. So you want to be careful with that. And get it off, and you can turn it over and inspect it to see where your leak is at. Being that this is plastic, it blew out right here, blew out right there, okay? And the new one I'm gonna get is gonna be aluminum, okay? All right, so that's off. Now you need to do is clean that up in there, clean that surface up, clean that up inside there. See if you can get your belt off. See if you can slide it out of there. If you can't, that's fine. If you're gonna replace it, then you'll have to get it out of there. But otherwise, you need to clean it all up so you can go back together. That's how you get this water pump off. Only way you're gonna replace that belt is if you take that bolt out, okay? Also, you notice that there's dowels for the water pump. All right, so you need to clean those up also, make sure they're in there.